Welcome to week 12, Prop Shop. I'm your host, Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday on social media, bringing you my favorite place tonight for Thursday night football, and we got a small NBA slate ahead of us. Full game preview, touchdown, liquor cabinet. I got two plays and a crossboard parlay. I want to talk about the LA Lakers, the Dalton Connect LA Lakers. Now, the Lakers are 7-2 in the month of November, fourth in offensive rating, 23rd in defensive rating, 12th overall in net rating, fourth in true shooting percentage, 12th overall in plus minus. Since Dalton Connect has been inserted into the starting lineup over the last three, he's dropped 14, 27, and 37. But I have to mention they beat the Spurs, the Pelicans, and the Jazz. So nothing to really hang your hat on, but we're seeing glimpses of the best version of this Lakers team. It's infinitely better than what I expected personally over the summer. I think heading into it, their ceiling was like a play-in team. That's kind of where anywhere from nine to anywhere from like 9 to 7 in that range. Um, I I do think we're looking at a team that could be top four in the West. They are currently top four in the West. Redick made a bold move the other day. I think it was after the Memphis loss, pushes D'Angelo Russell to the bench, inserts Cam Reddish into the starting lineup, immediately gets better defensively, and allows Austin Reeves and LeBron James kind of be the ball dominant guards. Reddish just kind of 3-and-D. I mean, he can occasionally hit a three. He was known as a three-point shooter coming into the league. That never really panned out. But defensively, he's a bigger guy than he gets credit for at 6'7", and it's paid dividends. I don't even think Redick expected that Dalton Connect would be this good this early. He's not going to get 37 every night. He's not going to play the Pelicans and the Jazz every night. But if he as a starting lineup guy can be a consistent 14 to 16 and space the floor, it changes everything about this Lakers team. I mean, going in, what were our big question marks? Can LeBron at 40 ask, to be carried the load, or at least be a number two? Even that is a lot to ask of a 40-year-old. Can Anthony Davis play at an MVP caliber level? Can he do it for 70 plus games? That's to be determined, but the early returns are positive on that. He's easily top three in the MVP candidacy right now. As far as the depth, I mean, you have Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and Cam Reddish. Now you can bring D'Lo off the bench with a Rui Hachimura. If they can package a Gabe Vincent and one of those unprotected first-round picks, bring in a backup big to Anthony Davis, you're looking at a team now that could be scary, that nobody thought, assuming they stay healthy, would be a top four team in the West. And that's currently what they are right now. We haven't talked about Christian Wood. I mean, I don't expect much of him. He's definitely not a rim protector, but he could be another offensive piece. And we haven't talked about Jared Vanderbilt. If they get Vando back, that's another 3-and-D guy. So defense is what's going to really pay dividends come the summer. I'm just excited to see where they could be. I mean, their ceiling now is a potential playoff team. I mean, is a potential finals team. Now they're third in the West behind the Warriors and the Thunder, and they're plus 2,800 to win the finals. So if you're looking for some long shots, if this is real, if they make a trade before they deadline, and maybe this squad with Dalton Connect in the lineup can they beat an OKC? Can they beat a Cleveland Cavaliers? Can they beat Orlando tonight? Now, Orlando's not a top in the East without Paolo, but they've still been a damn good team, and they're a damn good team defensively. I'm excited to see where this goes, not where originally what I thought it was going into the season. Let's talk about tonight's game. Thursday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers coming off their biggest win of the season against the Baltimore Ravens, facing the Browns. I think the spread, it was at 4 when I wrote this up. It's probably down to 3.5. Let me double check real quick. I remember when we closed up Monday night show, the spread was at 4.5. And I said, you got to gobble that up. You have to bet home divisional underdogs. Sure enough, Cleveland Browns now are 3.5, plus 3.5, down a point from Monday night. And the juice is still to the Browns. 89% of the bets tonight are on the Steelers. The public's all over the Steelers. The Browns are getting 3.5 at home. I love that betting trend. Home divisional underdogs. When you can bet it, you should. Browns are 1-2 with Jameis Winston under center, although it's not really translating to the wins. The offense has looked significantly more interesting. We're going to talk about the offensive weapons more in a little bit. Winston has thrown the ball 41 plus times in every start this season. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had one of those 3 starts where he had 3 interceptions in the game. I think the Steelers are going to try. They have to shake off that Ravens win, put it behind them, because they should not be taking the Cleveland Browns lightly. Fun fact, Jameis Winston has never played in sub 40-degree weather. We are expecting 90% chance of precipitation tonight. That's probably why this total is sitting at 36.5. It was sitting at 36.5 all week, and I was kind of scratching my head on Monday. They must have looked ahead at the weather. I did not do that in the moment. There's no reason on a clear day that this total shouldn't be at 40.5, 41.5. Expect the weather to play a factor. You're seeing it in total. I'm going to go into my first bet. Now, I made this, I think Tuesday. Put in this bet on Tuesday. I was not aware of the weather, but I'm still getting good closing line value. I got Elijah Moore, wide receiver for the Browns, 29.5 receiving yards. I'm going under. I still like the 29.5. It is playable at the 34.5. I would just bring the unit size down. It was 1 unit for me at the 29.5. At 34.5 with the rain, he's a short yardage guy. He's a slot receiver, former second-round pick. But it's looked different with Jameis Winston. He's looked, and that ties into no Amari Cooper. You can play it at 34.5, bring that unit size down. But in the 3 starts with Jameis Winston so far this season, he's tied his target total in those 3 starts than the previous 6 games combined. 29 in the first 6, 29 in the last 3, showing you that his role has changed. Hit this number in 2 of 3 of those starts. He had long receptions of 17, 19, and 30 yards in those games. The top 3 in this offense is Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, and Elijah Moore. But his first read looks with Winston as starter, 23.9, 24% of the routes he runs, he's the first read look. That's a good spot to be in, especially in a short yardage situation. And it helps that the Steelers allow the 6th most receiving yards to slot receivers this season. So Elijah Moore, you can still get 29.5, 30.5, put a unit on it at 34.5 with the weather. Go 0.75 units. You don't got to do the full bore on this. But I like Elijah Moore moving into this. I think he's the wide receiver too now. Depends how you look at the pecking order. Are you thinking of trying FanDuel? Here's a great offer for you. Bet just $5, and if your pick hits, you get $150 in bonus bets. Don't miss out. Check the link in the description below to make your first bet count. Remember, you must be 21 plus to participate. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. So Elijah Moore on the receiving yards. Got some closing line value there. This is a bet I put in today. Should still be available. If you have Bet365, I want you to bet Jerome Ford 5+ rush attempts for 1 unit. It's minus 125. If you do not have Bet365, I know it's not a book that every state offers. You can get 20+ rushing yards for about plus 110, and his over/under, I think, is 17.5. So he's known for that third down back. And everyone's all over his receiving totals. I don't want to go the receiving route today. It's going to be, when he's on the field, it's going to be expected. In order for them to not become predictable, they're going to have to get this guy the ball. And in a low-scoring game, I think that makes somewhat sense. He had 5 rush attempts last game. I think he had 2 in the one prior, so he's taken 1 of 2 games with Nick Chubb since he's returned from injury. Pierre Strong is your RB3. I think Deontay Foreman's been healthy and active for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. I'm not too concerned about him. A lot of people are on Chubb tonight. I think his rush attempt total's at 13.5. That's fine. They're not going to run the ball only 14 or 15 or 16 times. I think you're going to see 20 to 25 rush attempts from this Cleveland Browns offense if the weather is that bad. So I'm expecting at least 5 rush attempts out of Jerome Ford. You really cannot put that type of workload on a Nick Chubb. Although, coincidentally, his major injury from last season was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in that game, I think it was Ford who took off like a 60-yard rush. Let's hope we see that tonight. I'm sorry. Games should be lower scoring, run heavy. I do have some crazy stuff with Ford that I'll share in my lottos, but my 2 base plays, if you can't get the 5 rush attempts, pivot to 20+ rush yards. Totals at 36.5. They cannot run Nick Chubb with his body that beat up 20+ times a game. Expect Ford to get anywhere from 5 to 8 carries tonight. On a great end, we see 10 carries, which is plus 1,000 over on Bet365. But I'm feeling safe with the 5 rush attempts. Before we go to the touchdown liquor cabinet, a couple words from my boy Brad.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the GoldBoys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the GoldBoys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Let's talk about the touchdown liquor cabinet. As you can imagine, the cabinet's pretty bare tonight with a huge amount of rain and a total sitting at 36.5. I do not have a top shelf touchdown score for you. I have nothing that you should put one unit on in the touchdown category. Now, mid shelf, get some value there. Nick Chubb plus 155. Getting Nick Chubb at 1.5 to 1, even though the total's this low, if he gets within the red zone, I think he's going to get the rush attempts. He should get the ball. The rush attempt total sitting at 13.5. Even though it is this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, if I can get a starting running back with a little bit of motivation on the Nick Chubb side, he's saying it's not a big deal that the major injury happened against the Steelers. Now he's playing the Steelers tonight. There has to be something there. But if I'm getting 1.5 to 1, I would put a half unit on Nick Chubb. So that's my mid shelf. And then Baca, this is a guy I've been on at least 2 or 3 of the last 5 weeks. Darnell Washington, tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's 10 to 1. I think it was 11 to 1 right before the show tipped off. He's a red zone guy. He's essentially an extra left tackle. I hit him for receiving yards last week against the Ravens. This guy's playing 50% of the snaps, and especially tonight, especially in a game where you're going to see a lot of rush attempts, he could be on the field 60-70% of the snaps. And he's 6'7", 6'8". He's a massive dude. Like I said, pretty much an extra lineman. Had a red zone pass attempt last week that didn't go his way. At 10 to 1, I'm pretty much just hell-bent on hitting Darnell Washington, tight end for the Steelers. If you have $5 or $10, throw it on Darnell Washington tonight. That's it for the touchdown liquor cabinet because this game's going to suck scoring-wise. But I do have a cross-sport lotto for you to wrap up. Last one, no bueno. This one, I actually feel good about. Plus 52-42. I feel good about all of them, so I give them out. Plus 52-42. Brandon Miller, 25-plus points against the Detroit Pistons tonight. I am a Brandon Miller stan, I guess you would say. I'm really high on the kid. He's coming off 27 points against the Nets. The volume is just there for him. This guy is seeing 6 to 7 3-point shots a night. He gets to the free throw line. He's probably putting up anywhere from 16 to 19 field goal attempts, depending how well the first half shakes out. The volume's there. I'm rolling with Brandon Miller 25 plus, but I know my guys in the Discord are bashing me because he shit the bed on us a bunch of times. Zach Collins, 8+ rebounds against the Utah Jazz tonight. What I noticed last game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Collins just didn't have the minutes because there was no true center for the Thunder last game. There was no Chet Holmgren, still no Isaiah Hartenstein. He pretty much got played off the ball and played off the floor with a small ball squad. Against this Jazz team, a little bit bigger. I think he sees a few more minutes, and he still had 7 rebounds last game. So I'm going to go 8+ rebounds for Collins. I think he gets a little bit more of a minutes boost against the Jazz. Still no Wemby tonight. And if we had 10 rebounds the other night, we would have cashed $1,000 over in the Discord for Zach Collins. But I just want him for 8 tonight. And then Jerome Ford, 40 rushing yards. Jerome Ford, 40 rushing yards tonight. He did break a 60-yarder against the Steelers last week. I do think his workload is increased. It's going to get slippery out there. It's going to be cold. I can't see them dropping back 40-something times with Winston again as long as the game's close. Brandon Miller, 25+ points. Zach Collins, 8+ rebounds. Jerome Ford, 40+ rush yards. 52 to 1. Go light on this, guys. Go a tenth of a unit. But should be a good time. Put all these in, and I will see you Sunday night.